stuff that promotes them for it. So it's an interesting one.
I think we're both having some Joe Biden-esque debate issues here, aren't we?
We are indeed, yeah.
I won't blank out in this next one, though, because this is probably the one that's going to be cast next. So we're looking at now.
Ooh.
It is going to be a buddy cop series between Hal Jordan and Jon Stewart, who probably are the most popular Green Lanterns.
Yeah, I'd say.
What's his name's been cast as Guy Gardner?
Nathan Fillion.
Nathan Fillion, so Castle fame. Also, Fall Off Man. What was he, Fall Off Man? He was Fall Off Man in Suicide Squad, wasn't he?
TDK is the detachable kid?
Oh, he was. Oh, yeah.
So, yeah. Interesting take on Guy Gardner. He's a good actor. I'm sure he'll do something.
I would have put him as Hal Jordan, actually.
Really?
I really would have put him as Hal Jordan. So
okay,
I was kind of a bit disappointed because he's not going to be wasted because he's a great actor. But I was like, in my mind, he is a perfect Hal Jordan, and he's a perfect age as well. I mean, like early 50s.
Yeah, I've gone for a slightly older Hal Jordan as well. I want him to have the natural salt and pepper on the sides look. Is it your You're picking first, aren't you?
It is, yes. So do you want me to do both or just Hal Jordan?
Let's go with both. Okay.
So my Hal Jordan is this gentleman here, Matt Bomer. You may have seen him in some things, maybe not. He does just look like a superhero. And actually, he was in the late stages for being casted as Superman.
I was going to say, he's got a bit of the Henry Cavill's and Sweats about him, isn't he?
A
couple of those pictures.
So actually, it's a bit sad because he is convinced, and he's been saying that he feels that he wasn't picked for Superman just because he is openly gay.
Mama, not an ally!
So he's been married to his husband for about 10 years now. So he feels like that's the only reason that stopped him. But I look at him, he's 46. And he does have a bit of grey, and if you wanted to put some highlights on the side, you could. But he's a bit more, from what I've seen him in, a bit more serious. He can be lighter as well, but I think that Hal Jordan, if you wanted to do him older, if we're going to do younger Green Lanterns as well, he's in a stage in his career and in his life that he's been doing this for a while, and he's not necessarily grizzled, but he's a bit more straight than he probably would be far earlier in his career. I've not considered the dynamic between them, because I don't know if they're going to do it like a Lethal Weapon thing, or if that they're just going to be two cops, and it's going to be serious with like differing ideologies on how to treat people and situations. But my Jon Stewart would actually have been Sterling K. Brown if I hadn't have casted him for Brainiac.
Okay.
And so I have gone with another guy who is quite serious, but can be lighter as well, in John David Washington. And I think of Tenet, where he's very serious. And I also think of The Creator as well, where he has a very strong stance. Obviously it shifts, but he's all in on his sort of morals, whatever it is, and he's kind of once he's decided what he's doing, he's kind of unshakable in his conviction. And I think that's a really good Jon Stewart. In The Creator, he's a secret agent, but he falls in love with this woman, and basically when the American forces or whatever it is come in, she runs away from him, and he's deeply haunted by what he did. And he spends the rest of the movie basically trying to make up for that.
That sounds familiar, doesn't it?
Well, that was that exactly. I saw that and I thought, oh my gosh, that feels like Jon Stewart. I can't remember the planet it is, but when
Manhunters,
yeah, whatever it is that he did, which cost the lives of a whole planet, and basically that is always in the back of his mind, trying to atone for that. I think that is like, I've seen John David play out that whole arc, and he did it spectacularly, even though no one saw the movie. So him, John David Washington, and Matt Bomer would be my Hal Jordan and Jon Stewart.
So I feel like you've gone for, I think it's fair to say John David Washington is the bigger name out of the two.
Yeah, at the moment, absolutely.
And I've gone the other ways. I've done like the smaller name maybe being John Stewart, and for the reason as well, in my mind, the buddy cop aspect is going to be Hal Jordan is the original Green Lantern. He's the one you should aspire to be.
Mm-hmm.
John Stewart's coming into this new, and I've tried to kind of keep them similar to the versions of the characters I recognise, especially from the cartoons, where Hal Jordan actually is probably a bit of a wise guy, cocky character, and actually he's having a bit more fun with it, whereas John Stewart's very by the book, very straight-laced, quite serious. But I like that idea because in like 80s buddy cop movies, it's the old grizzled guy who's about to be retired, who's very straight-laced and is very by the book and serious, and it's the new cocky rookie who's come in that he's been paired with, who doesn't want to be paired with, who's trying to have fun with it and is trying to tell the old guy there's a new way to do it. Like I want to kind of like flip that. The new guy coming in says, "Why aren't we doing this by the book?" And Hal Jordan trying to tell him.
You want a training day scenario?
Yeah, no, opposite to training day.
The new guy comes in, he wants to do everything by the book, and the old guys...
right, sorry. Yeah, but less scary than that.
Yeah, yeah. I'm
sorry,
not Hal Jordan doing like PCP and bribing people, but
yeah. So I've gone with a slightly bigger name. Someone who actually I forgot who's already been cast in the DCU previously. So I don't know if he'd want to come back. But he's also been a space captain, so he's not used to. He's no alien. Pardon the pun.
I think I can see where this is going.
To be in a space ranger, but also he was in Dungeons and Dragons, and that movie did not get enough love, and he didn't get enough love from it either. Chris Pine would be my Hal Jordan. Obviously you know what he looks like, and you've seen he's getting a bit grey himself, so he can do the salt and pepper look. But the straight-laced guy, the guy who's going to come in and be really, really serious, I think also should be like an up-and-coming actor, in my opinion. So I've gone for this guy called Tosin Cole. So he's a British guy.
Oh, Supercell.
Yeah. So
And Doctor Who.
And that's where I know him from, really.
Right.
So he in Doctor Who, he's a little bit more of a deer in the headlights type of character. I think that's fair to say. But he wants to do things the right way. He's very risk averse, and I think that's who John Stewart needs to be as well. I think he wants to do things really risk averse. So yeah, those would be my two. That would be the dynamic between the two.
Okay, that's interesting. So where they play Hal is really interesting, isn't it?
Yeah.
Because when he's younger, he's the test pilot without fear. He's reckless. He's a bit careless. He does things completely his own way, which is very much against the wishes of the Guardians, who kind of almost want to organise the Lanterns more in a kind of militaristic kind of fashion. So I think I'm going to go for Judah's pick for Hal.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm
going to go for your pick for John. And that's just because, again, Judy, your pick, really good actor, really like him. I always picture John Stewart as really big, tall.
Yeah, he's quite short, yeah.
And he's quite small, isn't he? And I just struggle to see him in that John Stewart role, even though he is a good actor.
I think that's fair. I think that's why originally I'd gone for Sterling K. Brown, because I thought, in my head, John Stewart is also quite senior. He's been a soldier and then an architect and now a Green Lantern, so he's lived a whole life. But I think it's really interesting actually to kind of do him as a younger character as well.
Yeah.
So
coming in and not deer in the headlights as such, but still being a little bit in awe.
I like that.
It's interesting because, like, obviously in some of the depictions of how when he's got older, serious things have happened. The destruction of Coast City, the parallax stuff, and it makes him much graver and more serious. And I suspect for the show they're going to go for something that is a bit lighter and more engaging than that. And the play-off between John's seriousness and earnestness and Hal's kind of heroic recklessness. Kind of, I could see they probably would play the younger versions, but who knows? Who knows? They've pulled a few surprises out of the bag along the way so far, haven't they?
That's true.
That's true.
Well, some people have been saying they wonder if they're going to make John the older one,
It does
and then bring in Hal actually as the second one, but I don't know.
Yeah, because it fits that classic cliche buddy cop, doesn't it? For John to be the older one, doesn't it? He's the more serious guy. Well, we've got our Green Lanterns then. Let's go for